For more than 100 years, a silent blockade has held Europe captive. It's not a political embargo or a military line, it's the sea. Though the Fehmarnbelt is only 20 kilometers wide, it has severed the pulse of a continent, forcing millions into massive 500-kilometer detours. But that is about to change. On the quiet island of Fehmarn, the map of global transport is being redrawn. The Fehmarnbelt Tunnel isn't just another construction project, it's an 18-kilometer engineering marvel buried deep beneath the seafloor, designed to shatter natural barriers. At a staggering cost of $7.5 billion, the stakes couldn't be higher. Is it worth the price? And how do you even begin to pave a road under the ocean? Join Massive Minds as we take you inside this audacious mission where humanity does more than reshape geography. We challenge nature itself. Look at Europe's transportation map, and you'll find a glaring, strangely small gap. It's less than 20 kilometers wide, yet for over a century, it has effectively severed the north-south Scanmed corridor. This is the Fehmarnbelt, a narrow stretch of water between Germany and Denmark, where every single day, thousands of travelers and freight trucks are forced to a grinding halt, queuing up for aging ferries just to cross. This bottleneck does more than just waste time and fuel. It chokes the entire transcontinental supply chain. It's a bizarre paradox. While Europe boasts cross-border high-speed rail, clocking nearly 300 kilometers h here, commuters still stand in the biting sea wind, waiting for a boat. The solution seemed obvious: connect the two shores. But the how was a nightmare. A bridge was the first option on the chopping block. The Baltic is notorious for fierce western gales that can flip a heavy semi-truck, and in winter, ice makes bridge decks lethally slick. A traditional bored tunnel fared no better. The chaotic seabed geology would have required 5 separate tubes, sending costs into the stratosphere and pushing the timeline past the point of no return. Faced with a problem that had no right answer, engineers made a radical call, one never been attempted in the history of European infrastructure. They wouldn't dig under the sea. They would build the tunnel on land, then sink the massive sections onto the seabed. What sounded like science fiction became the only way to fix a missing link that had paralyzed a continent for over 100 years. To turn such an ambitious idea into reality, the project required a scale and level of technology to match. This is why Rødbyhavn, a quiet seaside town in Denmark, was transformed into the largest precast concrete facility in Europe. Since January 2021, the plant has been producing tunnel segments with a standard length of 217 meters. Their completion marked the first major milestone of an engineering feat that is set to reshape Europe's transportation map. Each segment serves as a massive backbone for the seabed. They are cast in 9 separate sections during a continuous 36-hour pour. This isn't just to save time, and continuous casting ensures the concrete forms a single, monolithic structure. This is vital for maintaining structural integrity under the immense water pressure of the deep sea. To manage the process, a cold water cooling system is embedded directly into the casting forms. Its job is to control curing temperatures and prevent heat of hydration reactions, which can lead to expansion, cracking, or long-term structural weakness. During this phase, engineers also pre-install internal components, including ventilation ducts, service corridors, cabling, railway tracks, and road surfaces. As a result, even while still on land, each segment is already a fully functional transport corridor, ready for vehicles and trains. Here, concrete is more than just a building material. It is the foundation of a cross-sea vision, realized through absolute precision and modern immersed tunnel technology. But no matter how perfectly these segments are crafted, the greatest challenge remains. How do you move a 73,000-ton structure, roughly the weight of a 10-story building, out into open water and lower it onto the seabed with pinpoint accuracy? The engineer's answer is surprisingly simple, yet deeply elegant. Instead of fighting gravity by trying to lift the concrete, they reversed the logic and trusted physics itself. They allowed it to float. Once completed at Rødbyhavn, each tunnel segment is sealed at both ends with massive steel bulkheads, turning it into an airtight chamber filled with air. When the segment is ready to leave the casting basin, water is slowly pumped into the dock. As the water level rises, a pressure difference is created, and at that precise moment, buoyancy takes over. Archimedes' principle lifts the concrete segment, allowing it to rise and float like a colossal ship. In May 2024, the first tunnel segment was officially removed from the yard. Guided by a fleet of high-powered tugboats, it moved at an extremely slow speed along a predefined route across the sea. Every single meter was monitored using GPS systems, acceleration sensors, and marine radar, ensuring absolute control throughout the journey. At the construction site on the floor of the Baltic Sea, engineers had already prepared a massive trench, reinforced with a carefully leveled stone foundation. This was the moment when tension reached its peak. Water was gradually pumped into the hollow interior of the tunnel segment, slowly replacing the trapped air. As the weight increased, the concrete structure began its controlled descent toward the seabed. This was no ordinary landing. It was a descent to nearly 40 meters below the surface, under strong currents and intense pressure. Even a tiny error, just a slight tilt of a single degree, could cause the segment to miss the trench or make it impossible to connect with the next one. After hours of precise and nerve-wracking operations, the moment finally arrived. The tunnel segment settled into place, resting calmly on its foundation, perfectly aligned, correctly oriented, and set at the exact required depth. But this is also where the greatest challenge truly begins: joining individual tunnel segments into a continuous structure beneath the sea. Under normal conditions on land, concrete can be used to bond structural elements together. But at a depth of nearly 40 meters below the surface, where pressure can reach 4 to 5 atmospheres, equivalent to dozens of tons pressing down on every square meter, conventional materials become useless. At that depth, traditional sealing methods cannot survive. The solution was that, instead of fighting the ocean, the engineers decided to harness its power. They chose to use the immense weight of the water to create a permanent connection. Before a segment leaves the casting facility, it is sealed at both ends with massive steel bulkheads. At one end, a specialized rubber sealing ring is pre-installed, the GINA gasket. This 30-centimeter thick elastic system is engineered to withstand extreme compression while remaining perfectly watertight. It acts as a high-tech buffer between the massive structures, absorbing minor tolerances while preventing even the smallest drop of water intrusion. When a new segment is towed into position, hydraulic jacks slowly push it toward the previously installed section. Then, the real physics takes over. Engineers evacuate the water from the small space between the bulkheads, creating a near-vacuum environment. Instantly, the massive external hydrostatic pressure drives the two segments together with thousands of tons of force. Under this immense weight, the GINA gasket is compressed tight, sealing the joint permanently and completely. In effect, the ocean becomes a giant hydraulic press, performing the final connection with a strength no machine could replicate. What was once a deadly obstacle is transformed into the project's most powerful tool. The entire operation is monitored with surgical precision. Endoscopic cameras, pressure sensors, and vibration tracking instruments are installed at every critical junction. If the slightest deviation is detected, the process is immediately paused and corrected. Link by link, 89 standard segments and 10 specialized sections are forged into a single 18-kilometer corridor beneath the sea. This is more than a technical milestone. It is a lesson in how humans can work with nature instead of fighting it. By harnessing the ocean's force, rather than resisting it, engineers turned a formidable enemy into an indispensable ally in one of the most ambitious underwater projects ever built. Once the entire foundation and installation process was complete, the final stages of finishing the tunnel moved forward at full speed. The priority is healing the seabed. By a process called backfilling, engineers bury the tunnel under layers of protective rock and gravel, shielding it from the Baltic's powerful currents. But this is more than just engineering. It's a restoration of nature. By returning the original sediment to the site, they invite the marine ecosystem to return. Within years, the structure will vanish beneath sand and blend into the ocean floor as if it were always there. While nature was reclaiming the outside, a new mega worksite emerged inside the tunnel itself. What awaited within these massive concrete shells was far more than a simple roadway. It was a fully integrated infrastructure system. At the center of the tunnel runs a 4-lane highway for vehicles, designed for speeds of up to 110 kilometers per hour, cutting the sea crossing down to just 7 minutes. Along both sides are double-track rail lines for high-speed trains, forming a critical link in the Trans-European corridor, stretching from Sweden to Italy. Supporting this are longitudinal ventilation systems, lighting, power substations, drainage networks, and a dense array of sensors operating around the clock. Safety was treated as non-negotiable. The tunnel is equipped with hundreds of surveillance cameras, emergency control stations, and regularly spaced escape routes. Every potential scenario, from fires and gas leaks to traffic accidents, has been planned for with immediate response systems ready to activate. It is at this stage that the project truly comes alive. What was once an inert mass of concrete becomes a living artery of movement and connection. Scheduled to open in 2029, the tunnel will serve as a vital link between Germany and Denmark, delivering enormous economic benefits and reshaping Europe's transportation map. Will underground megastructures like this become the global standard? Would you drive beneath the sea? Share your thoughts below. Even with its technical brilliance, the Fehmarnbelt tunnel remains a lightning rod for controversy. From above, the Fehmarnbelt tunnel appears to be a remarkable link between two nations. But at ground level, it has sparked a far more complex question. Is this project truly as green as it is being promoted? Since construction began in 2020, the Fehmarnbelt tunnel has been presented as Europe's green corridor, a critical link designed to cut emissions from thousands of ferry crossings and heavy trucks forced to detour nearly 500 kilometers each day. Once completed, the tunnel is expected to reduce more than 140,000 tons of CO2 annually, an amount often compared to eliminating the emissions of 10,000 households. From an economic perspective, with a total investment of $7.5 billion, the project is projected to break even after 30 years and generate up to $4 billion in profit over 50 years of operation. It is a powerful and appealing promise. But the picture is far from entirely green. On the German side, particularly among the residents of Fehmarn Island, opposition has been incredibly vocal. An island once defined by its untouched nature now faces the encroachment of traffic noise, artificial lighting, and the sprawling infrastructure that threatens its quiet character. Below the waves, ecologists warn that massive dredging could cloud the water, disrupting plankton-based food chains and endangering bottom-dwelling species. In response, the developer Fehmarn AS has committed to 24/7 environmental monitoring. Water quality, noise, and marine health are tracked continuously, with data published in real time. It is a level of transparency rarely seen in a mega-project of this scale. Yet, a fundamental paradox remains. How can a project claim to be green when its very birth requires over 2 million tons of CO2 emissions from cement, steel, and heavy machinery? This question reaches far beyond the Fehmarnbelt. It is a dilemma facing every major infrastructure project in the post-carbon era. Where there is development, there are trade-offs. So, what do you think? Can we truly combine large-scale construction with genuine environmental protection? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Ultimately, the battle between green and concrete isn't about finding a winner. It's about pushing engineers and policymakers to set higher standards, creating structures that are not only efficient but environmentally accountable. The Fehmarnbelt Tunnel is more than just a road under the sea. It is an ongoing dialogue between the speed of progress and the demands of sustainability. In any case, when the Fehmarnbelt Tunnel officially opens in 2029, it will become the longest immersed tunnel in the world, carrying both rail and road traffic, surpassing similar projects in Japan and South Korea. With a total length of nearly 18 kilometers, it does more than reduce a 500-kilometer detour to a journey of just 10 minutes. It marks an unprecedented engineering milestone, building massive tunnel sections on land, lowering them into the sea, and reconnecting two of Northern Europe's most important economies beneath the water. Yet this achievement comes with difficult and uncomfortable questions. With an investment exceeding $7.5 billion, millions of tons of concrete, and more than 2 million tons of CO2 emitted during construction, can this truly be called a green corridor, as governments have promised? Or is it a contradiction, a project where nature is disrupted in the name of convenience? In the long run, will the economic benefits be enough to outweigh the ecological scars left behind? So, what do you think about this mega project? Is it the transportation solution Europe needs for the 21st century? Or is it simply too high a price to pay for speed? Share your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoy stories about engineering projects that can rewrite the map of the world, don't forget to subscribe to Massive Minds, where we explore the megastructures shaping the future of humanity.